Hello everyone. For this video, we will be using factoring by grouping. But before that, we will try to recall on how to factor polynomials. So always remember, the first step is to always look for common factors among the terms of the polynomial. And if there is, factor it out. Second step is to look at the number of terms of the polynomial. So we're done with terms which are binomial with two terms. We're done as well with trinomial. And finally, we're now down to the last one. If we have four or more terms, so we can use factoring by grouping. So if there are four or more terms, question now is how will you factor by grouping? So here's an example. bx plus by plus cx plus cy. So notice that this time, there are four terms separated by the plot. The concept of factoring by grouping is about rearranging and grouping some terms together. So one such way is by grouping terms with common factor. So let's say here, you'll notice that the first term and the second term has a common factor, which is b. And the third term and the fourth term, both of them has a c with it. So what will you do? You group them. So you put them inside the parentheses, first and second term, and the third term and the fourth term will be placed in another group as well. Then you use or you factor out the common. So for this, bx plus by, the common factor is b. So you factor it out. What will be left in our first term is just x, and the other term is just y. You'll do the same thing on our second group, cx plus cy, in which the common factor is c, and what will be left is x plus y. So this time, you will notice that the two groups has a commonality, right? The first group has a factor of x plus y, the second group has a factor of x plus y. So what do we do if that's the case? You will also factor out again, okay, based from the two groups already. So in our first and second group, both of them has x plus y. So you factor that out. So what will be left in our first group if we factor out x plus y? That would just be b. What will be left in our second group if we factor out x plus y on it? So it's just c. So there you go. That's the factored form of bx plus by plus cx plus cy. Now let's have another example. We have here ax minus ay plus dx minus dy. So again, there are four terms in here. So you will take advantage the terms with common factors. So you might be thinking of grouping together ax and ay. And to group together dx minus dy. Because they have a common factor d. So for our first group, it has a common factor of a. So you factor that out. So you have x minus y. And our second group, it has a common factor of d. So what will be left is x minus y. Now, in our two groups, they have a common x minus y in here. So what will you do? You have to factor out the common factors in our two groups, which is x minus y. In that case, what will be left in our first group is just an a, and in our second group, what will be left is just b. So this is now the correct factored form. Let's try another example. We have 4x squared minus 2xy minus 6ax plus 3ay. So in this case, you can group together the first and the second term because they have a common factor again, which is x. And aside from x, both of them has a factor of 2. So you can use that. So group them together, 4x squared minus 2xy. And the third and the fourth, both of them has an a with it, and a factor of 3. And then the 6, because 6 is 3 times 2, so it has a 3 as well. But take note, when you group them, make sure that you will include the operation before it and think of it like a negative sign. So that means between them, it must be plus, and then you're putting it here, negative 6ax plus 3ay. So you have to be careful because sometimes some students will tend to group together only the 6ax plus 3ay. And then there's a minus in here. If this one happens, it should be quite different already. Because if you put back again the negative, you have to distribute it because it seems like there's a negative 1 in here. So, yan. Pag i-distribute mo yan, magiging negative 6ax minus 3ay na siya. So, hindi siya babalik dun sa given mo. So, that's why you have to be careful. So, when you group something together, dapat kasali yung minus dito. Come to think of it like a negative. So, just like what I did here. Okay? Sige. So, let's continue. So, in our 4x squared minus 2xy, the commonality is 2x. So, ano ba yung matitira kapag finactor out natin si 2x from 4x squared? So, that would just be 2x. Then here, we have y. On our second group, we need to factor out the 3. Okay? First 3, kasi obviously, the 6 and the 3, 3 yung factor nila. May common din na a. So, factor out din natin yung a. Pero, tingnan nyo yung first group natin so that you will be guided on what to do. So, if you look at it, the first term inside the parenthesis is 2x, positive 2x. So, kung hindi natin ifa-factor out si negative dito, sa negative 6ax, so magiging negative din ito. So, that would defeat the purpose on why we're doing grouping. So, you have to factor out as well the negative. But of course, once you factor out the negative, you must also get the opposite of the second term. So, tulad dito. So, di ba, tinanggal na natin si negative. So, magiging positive na siya. With 6 divided by 3, you have 2. Then you have x left. And then yung plus, magiging minus. So, there you go. So, kung tinanggal natin si 3a, y na lang yung matitira. See, notice that we're able to 2x minus y. So, same thing what we did a while ago. In our two groups, we have to factor out the common, which is 2x minus y. And then what will be left in the first term? You'll have 2x. And in our second term, you have minus 3a. And that's our answer. Let's now proceed to D. The given is AC plus BC plus A plus B. Same pattern. You have to group together the terms with a common factor. That's the point of using factoring by grouping. So for this one, pwede mong i-group together si AC at saka si BC. Because they have a common factor which is C. And then the other two terms, you don't have to find for common factor, but you can just group them together. But in our first group, you can factor out the C. What will be left is A plus B. If you notice, in our first group and in our second group, they have a common factor which is A plus B. So you factor that out. Okay, what will be left here? Sa first group natin, C na lang. Plus, okay, dito nawala lahat, si A plus B, because we've just factored everything out. But it doesn't mean that it's 0. It means that the remaining factor is just 1. So we have to put 1 in here. So C plus 1. There you go, that's the answer. To verify if your answer is correct, you can always do the reverse. This is what you've learned in grade 7. So you have two binomials in here. You can use FOIL method to verify. So multiply the first terms, a times c, ac. Multiply the outer terms. This is f, this is o. A times 1 is a. Inner terms, b times c is bc. And the last terms are b and 1. B times 1 is b. Did we get the same answer? Yes, it's the same. It's just that it's in different order, but we can always reorder the terms because addition is commutative. So AC plus BC plus A plus B. So in short, your answer here is correct. So for our next video, we will look into a combination of all the factoring techniques that we know. So that would be quite challenging because you have to really understand the process on how to factor. Thank you so much for watching.